Dora, you're back up for the Office of Equity, Inclusion, and Community Engagement, OEICE Quarterly Report for July through September 2023.
Thank you again, Commissioner, and good evening. For the record, again, my name is Dora Perry. I have the pleasure of serving as the Washington County Interim CEIO, down 4. I am joined here by Ashley Horn, Equity Policy Manager. Amanda, where's Amanda? Okay, Amanda is over there. Amanda Garcia-Snell, our Community Engagement Manager, and leads from each of our 6 Equity Leadership Council, the committees. They are here to present to you the 3rd quarter update of our 2023 from the Office of Equity, Inclusion, and Community Engagement. As an office, we continue to advance a tremendous amount of equity, diversity, and inclusion, and community engagement work to implement the equity resolution. In this quarterly report, we will focus on a high-level review of the incredible work our Equity Leadership Council committees have supported and advanced since their inception, after the passage of the equity resolution, as well as the important work they are currently engaged in. So we have fewer slides today, yay, but we will present a significant amount of exciting work, none of which we could have accomplished without the partnership and shared leadership of our Equity Leadership Council, a council committee from across the county. I'd like to begin with appreciation for all our partners in the work and for the board's leadership and direction per the equity resolution. I will also be amazed if I don't mention our staff who have also contributed and shared in making sure that this work continues. So I have to say, OEIC staff, thank you. Deep appreciation for what you've done. Okay. So we covered the timeline slide at our last quarterly report, so we will not review it in full detail today. But we did want to include it as a reference point and to share that we are still on track to start updating our strategic action plan in the coming months. And that is up there. And with this, I will turn it over to Ashley Horn to begin our presentation on the work of our Equity Leadership Council committees. Ashley.
Thank you, Dora. Good evening, board. For the record, my name is Ashley Horn, and I have the honor of serving as the Equity Policy Manager of the Office of Equity, Inclusion, and Community Engagement. As Dora mentioned, we are focusing this quarterly report on work of our Equity Leadership Council committees. Before launching into our review of this important work, we want to take a quick moment to review the Equity Leadership Council structure that you see up on the slide there. We have presented on this material several times, so we won't go into great detail here. But for those who may be tuning in and seeing this for the first time, the Equity Leadership Council is focused on the development and implementation of Washington County's equity, diversity, and inclusion strategies, standards, policies, and tools. In the right column that you see up on the slide there, we have listed each of the 6 Equity Leadership Council committees, each of which will do represent a pillar of equity, diversity, and inclusion work, and we'll hear from leads from each of those committees in the following slides. To help simplify what we're going to share with you, we've offered a key or color code for the text. The green text represents accomplishments in the following slides, yellow, works in progress, and light blue, work that is forthcoming and not yet started. With that, we will ask the presenting leads of the Civil Rights Compliance Committee, Boards and Commissions Diversity and Inclusion Committee, and the Employee and Supplier Best Practices Committee to please come up to the podium. We will start by hearing from Melanie Fopel, Chair of the Civil Rights Compliance Committee.
Thank you, Ashley, and good evening, Board of County Commissioners. My name is Melanie Fopel. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the Equity Coordinator for the Department of Health and Human Services. I am also currently serving as the Chair of the Civil Rights Compliance Committee. The role of the Civil Rights Compliance Committee is to champion the full implementation of relevant civil rights laws and policies, equal employment opportunity and affirmative action plans, and adverse impact assessments. Last year, our committee supported an update to the county's Equal Employment Opportunity Plan, which I will abbreviate to EEOP, which is required to ensure that we are providing equal employment opportunities to all individuals, regardless of race, sex, or national origin. Some notable components of our county's EEOP that our committee actively reviewed and contributed to include establishing a county-specific process for the timely filing, investigation, and resolution of complaints regarding discrimination, harassment, and retaliation. We as a committee have also reviewed aggregate data of these complaints and the actions taken for the purpose of identifying trends and opportunities for system-level improvement. We are also currently providing advisement on the county's affirmative action plan. The update to our affirmative action plan will pull workforce data collected in the EEOP, and we have recently supported the HR and OEICE data team in reviewing the job classification data. Ultimately, the affirmative action plan will build on the EEOP to identify and remove unnecessary barriers to employment for underrepresented groups within the Washington County workforce. Last but not least, we are also actively supporting the county's Language Access Coordinator through reviewing the Title VI Compliance Plan and further detailing our policies and procedures for supporting individuals with limited English proficiency. Most notably, we are close to finalizing a county-wide survey that will gather information on the languages most frequently encountered, staff familiarity and comfort with using translation and interpretation services, feedback on our current vendors, additional areas for training, and suggestions for improvement. Thank you for your time and your attention, and with that, I will yield the floor to Alex Coleman.
Good evening, Board. My name is Alex Coleman. I'm the Staff Facilitator for the Public Health Advisory Council, and I serve as the Chair of the Boards and Commissions Diversity and Inclusion Committee. For 2023, the Boards and Commissions Committee has continued to focus on 3 areas: onboarding and training, bylaws, and recruitment and retention. Each work group within the committee has continued to make progress on identified projects, including nearing completion of a welcome video for new boards and commissions members, and the creation of a toolkit and orientation materials to help staff liaisons onboard new members to their board or commission. We've also developed best practice recommendations regarding the use of term limits. This past summer, the boards and commissions
For a second.
Yeah.
Kevin, could you advance?
Oh, I think there we go.
I
Sorry.
wanted to make sure everybody knew where we were on this, so thank you.
Don't put me in charge. This past summer, the Boards and Commissions DEI Committee was able to partner with another ELC committee to bring in Right to Be, an EDI training organization, to offer 2 trainings for staff and participants on all boards and commissions: bystander intervention and strategies to mitigate implicit bias training. Over the next year, the Boards and Commissions Committee will continue to make progress on standardizing access to information on boards and commissions and looking at ways to reduce barriers to participation in boards and commissions for underrepresented communities. I'll now turn it over to Erica Crenshaw, co-chair of the Employee and Supplier Best Practices Committee.
Good evening. My name is Erica Crenshaw. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm the Senior Financial Analyst in the Sheriff's Office, and I co-chair the Employee and Supplier Best Practices Committee. Our purpose is twofold: to support the creation and implementation of policies and practices that improve the diversity and inclusion of county employees at every level of county government, and secondly, to develop innovative solutions to ensure counties' contracting and purchasing reflects the diversity of the county's population. With that, I'd like to share the good work of our committee. The committee completed an analysis and co-developed a draft employee resource group's policy and procedures. ERGs promote equity, diversity, and inclusion, foster employee engagement, strengthen workplace effectiveness, improve leadership abilities, enhance personal and professional growth within Washington County. The committee also conducted analysis and provided us advisement on the development of a draft bilingual pay policy and procedures. This policy's purpose is to ensure compliance with language access requirements per civil rights law and to improve our ability to serve our linguistically diverse communities and to ensure our bilingual staff are set up for success in the bilingual work they do in service to the county. More recently, the committee has simultaneously participated individually and reviewed as a committee the GARE online equity training. The committee reviewed the Washington County Means Progress Internal Roadshow, a collaborative initiative with economic development, HR learning and development, procurement, and OEICE. We're also currently assessing supplier and diversity needs, and our future endeavor is to advise on internship policies. Many thanks for your time. And with that, I would like to invite leads from the Equity Data, Equity and Inclusion Training, and Equity Policy Committees to come up here to the podium. We will next hear from Ava Hawes on behalf of the Equity Data Committee.
As the team gets settled, board, for your information, I do want to let you know that looking at your board's calendar, work sessions, and board meetings, we are anticipating that the ERGs, or Employee Resource Group, and bilingual pay policy will be coming back to your board December, January for consideration of adoption.
Good evening. My name is Eva Hawes, and I'm the Translational Research and Policy Analyst in our Health and Human Services Department. I'm also the chair of the Equity Data Committee. The purpose of the Equity Data Committee is to evaluate and provide recommendations for improving equity data collection, data systems, data accessibility and privacy, and data analysis in reporting standards. We aim to advance equity and racial justice by exploring the implicit biases in existing internal and external data collection methods. This past year, our committee has completed an initial partial countywide equity data assessment. This helped inform our need for a comprehensive understanding of county data systems and practices. The committee successfully co-wrote an RFP for the scope of work, and we are currently finalizing the contract. Request for proposals. Acronyms are my nemesis. The Equity Data Committee also advised on data and metrics regarding the Equal Employment Opportunity Plan that you heard about earlier, and the Affirmative Action Plan, including but not limited to deciding the methodology for determining if a workforce disparity exists or not. We advised on the Limited English Assistance Assessment, which is a data collection tool to better understand cross-county limited English proficiency programs and services. The tool just finished a pilot round in my department in HHS, and we will be deployed for other departments after the new year. We are currently drafting new county policy related to demographic data collection to blueprint Washington County's compliance with ORS 182.116, which mandates that any form issued by a public body which asks a person to identify their race or ethnicity allows them to select more than one race or identity. We are reviewing the budget equity tool with a lens towards improving data collection elements for this next year's budget season. The Equity Data Committee is working closely with the newly formed Washington County Data Users Group. We are reviewing work produced by the Data Users Group to ensure that an equity lens is central. We will be reviewing survey best practices, work on data governance, and data visualization best practices. Looking forward, we will also be supporting the contractors who will be conducting the data systems and practices assessment and recommendations across the county. Finally, we are working to build data equity capacity and skills among our members. We are currently working through the We All Count Data Equity Framework series, together with the expectation that members bring relevant elements to their own respective jobs. And I will pass next to Valentina representing the Equity Inclusion Training Committee.
Thank you. for your time today. My name is Valentina Barrett, and I'm a management analyst with Health and Human Services, and I'm also the chair for the Equity and Inclusion Training Committee. I'm excited to share some of the recent developments from work that has been accomplished over the last several months to a year. All of this has been possible thanks to the time, efforts, and energy invested by all of the wonderful training committee members from past and present. Over the last several sessions, the training committee has assessed and provided advisement on county EDI learning and development needs. Training committee members have also enrolled in the GARE, Government Alliance on Race and Equity online training. The majority have completed the training and have provided feedback on the online modules. This past summer, the training committee embarked on an exciting project. By collaborating in small groups to vet and curate educational resources, the committee focused on creating 3 21-day challenges to be shared as learning opportunities countywide. 2 are complete and ready to launch. Those are Environmental and Social Justice for All and Allyship. The third one, What Do You Mean by Microaggressions, is still in development and is coming soon. We look forward to sharing the 3 challenges with the county, and this concludes the training committee updates. Thank you. I will now pass it over to Kayleen Berrios. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kaylin Barrios. I have worked in Washington County for about 10 years. My current role is as the Center Manager for the Community Corrections Center. I have participated in the Equity Policy Committee since its inception, serving as the chair over the last year. Within the Equity Policy Committee, we have co-developed the county's inaugural and subsequent budgeting equity tools and provided advisement on the development of the county's first legislative equity tool. Our current focus of work is on the policy equity guidance, which will help staff build equity considerations into policy work. In addition, we reviewed and provided advisement on drafts of the Employee Resource Groups Policy and Procedures, the Bilingual Pay Policy and Procedures, and the Civil Rights and ADA policies. Equity policy members are excited about policy work. We recognize that equity work is structural and involves policy change. Policies reflect our values and establish foundation and guidance, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to help the county advance equity by way of creating tools and advising on key policies. Thank you for providing us with the opportunity to share the work we've accomplished and what we are working on. I will now pass it back to Ashley for questions.
That concludes our committee presentations, and now we just have the standard question slide, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was a very good, that was a very good, clear and concise report. I liked the way that you laid out all of those groups and committees. Commissioners, do you have any questions or comments?
I have a question. And but before I ask my question, I just want to say how much I appreciate the fact that you all came to us tonight to present about your committee work. That's we hear about it, we're aware of it, but seeing you here in the room and listening to frankly to your passion about the work that you're doing, it's very cool. Very cool. It makes me feel really good. And my question is, while I see the interaction that you provided to us, I'd like to know if the committees as a whole are engaged and as active as our chairs are.
I can take a first pass. I would say the committee members are very engaged in the work that they're undertaking. So we experience that people show up on purpose with a purpose and excited to engage in what other, if it's a training sort of thing or a tool development thing or an advisory capacity looking at a policy, we experience that they're choosing to do this work. And it's on top of their other full plate realities.
Well, I kind of suspected that would be the answer, and I'm seeing a lot of heads nodding in the back, and I think I'm going to take away with me tonight. You show up on purpose with a purpose. I like it. Thank you.
Commissioner Treese, if I can just add to that, this is very intentional work, and it is about embedding equity practice across the county. While we do and are so fortunate to have the equity resolution as our guidepost and our Office of Equity, Inclusion, and Community Engagement, we know that that work cannot be done in a vacuum in and of itself. So I think today is just one small demonstration on how we're embedding. Another important aspect is this is an opportunity for employees to come together across the organization, to form relationships, to learn from each other, learn from the various diverse business lines that we have as a county. In some cases, this is the very first opportunity an employee may have had to chair a committee, to lead committee meetings. So there's also leadership development that is built into this process. Each year, we do a call for applicants for the committees, and I can confidently say that there's been more applicants than there is spots on committees, so that is just an important note just of the passion across the county. I do want to just mention the Equity Leadership Council is an internally facing equity leadership. So this is how we do our work to bring policy and recommendations to you. And the chairs of the Equity Leadership Council actually serve, or the chairs of the committees, serve on the Equity Leadership Council side by side. We do hold them virtual. So when I say side by side squares, with our department directors. And so what we're also wanting to do is create a space of shared leadership at all levels.
Thank you. And lastly, I'd just like to thank the chairs for your leadership and for your passion. So, and I'm going to show up with a purpose. Wait a minute. Show up on purpose with a purpose. Thank you.
Good job, co-chairs, chairs of each committee. I'm just glad to see you all, because I think I've usually, the Equity Leadership Council, we're on a bubble. So I'm very glad to meet all of you. I've been in so many meetings with Alex, and this is the first time we're meeting, I think, in person, right? So, but I'm very impressed with your work, and I'm so glad you identified yourself to be the chairs of each of these committees, and I'm with you on this journey. Equity is a messy work, because it takes, it's uncomfortable. You either making somebody uncomfortable or, challenging yourself to be uncomfortable. So either way, it's a good work, it's a necessary work, and it's needed work to make a difference in this world and to address some of the injustices that are built into our system. So I'm with you, hang in there, and I'm just phone call away if you ever need any support. So. And you all know I co-chair with Tanya on this, so reach us out for both of us.
All right, well, thank you very much. Commissioner Treese and I were here in 2019 for the first time, so was the chair, but we went through the rigors of that resolution, and honestly, I know that it's been evolving and developing and coming along really, really well, but tonight, the presentation was the most clear demonstration I've seen of the work that we did 4 or 5 years ago. So thank you for that clarity and for the hard work that you've done. However, I have to admit that when we were first going through this resolution, I thought the very first person we should hire was the equity data information, because obviously I'm a numbers guy, but I firmly believe what you can't measure, you can't manage. And I see that's coming along just great, and everything is working in concert. So congratulations, every one of you, for the work that you're doing to make this resolution become even more of a reality. So thank you very much. And Dora, thank you for a great presentation.
Thank you to all of you, and Tanya and Commissioner Fye for the support. Appreciate it.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you.